Okay, we'll call this regular council meeting to order, November 24th. It's 3 p.m. I please ask Councillor Russell to read the land acknowledgement.
The town of Innisfail acknowledges that we are meeting on Treaty 7 territory, the ancestral and traditional territory of the Blackfoot Confederacy, Kainai, Piikani, and Siksika, as well as the Tusina and Stoney Nakoda First Nation. We acknowledge that this territory is home to the Métis Nation of Alberta, Region 3 within the historical Northwest Métis homeland. We acknowledge the many First Nations and Métis and Inuit who have lived in and cared for these lands for generations. We are grateful for the traditional knowledge keepers and elders who are still with us today and those who have gone before us. We make this acknowledgement as an act of reconciliation and gratitude to those whose territory we reside on.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to 2.1, are there any additions or deletions? No. Could I please have a motion to adopt the agenda as presented? Councillor Hill.
I will make that motion, Mayor Barclay.
All right, thank you. All in favor? Carried. And we'll move into 3.1, the regular council meeting minutes. If somebody's ready, just have a motion, please, to accept those as presented. Councillor Strong.
I'll make the motion we accept the minutes.
Okay. Any changes? No? All in favor? Carried. And then the agenda and priorities meeting for November the 17th. I'll have a motion for that, please. Councillor Wing.
Mayor Barclay, I'll move those minutes.
Okay, thank you. All in favor? Okay, carried. So we'll move into 4.1. And this is in regard to the Central Alberta Economic Partnership. So the fall general meeting is this coming Thursday in Rocky Mountain House. And I'm asking for a couple of motions, if someone wouldn't mind making them. The first motion would be that there be a motion that I would be able to run for the Board of Directors for CAEP for the next 3 years. And then the second motion would be for our resident Dale Dunham to be the town of Innisfail's business representative at CAEP. So municipalities are allowed to have 2 representatives, one as an elected official representative and then the second as a business rep. And we haven't had a business rep from the community for some time, so we have somebody who is interested, not as a board position, but just as our representative from the business community. Councillor Hystad.
Yeah, Your Worship, I'm ready to make that motion. Okay. And I'll make the motion to make sure that I'll wordsmith this as much as I can to allow Mayor Barclay be our board of director for the 3-year term on CAEP. Okay. And do you want me to add?
Well, let's vote on that motion first of all. Any discussion? All in favor? Yep. Carried, and then we'll have the second motion for Dale.
The second motion would be to ask that Dale Dunham sit on as a business representative for the town of Innisfail for the 3-year term for CAEP.
Perfect.
Mayor Barclay?
Yep, that's perfect.
Just curious if we did put that out to see if anyone else was interested, or if we just did it because he came forward. And
yes.
And I understand we're under a time crunch, but maybe in the future, is there a way that we can get an expression of interest?
Yeah, we could. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Councillor Hystad?
Yeah, Mayor Barclay, and I think Councillor Russell has said it well. In the future we could ask for a business rep, but we have never had one in the time that I've sat around this table. So I think it's fitting that Dale represent Innisfail on that opportunity. And I wanted to say in the first motion that I think you've represented us really well at CAEP for the last number of years. So thanks for taking that on.
Right. Thank you. Okay, so we have I'm not sure about the term for Dale Dunham, but yeah. Okay, so all in favor? Okay, carried. All right, and we'll move into 4.2 with our CAO report.
Thanks, Mayor Barclay. Hello, Council. The report generally covers some of the sessions I attended at the AB Communities Convention, which was held in Calgary, November 11th to 14th. I'll take any questions to that in that regard, and largely the administration focus has been on the budget, as you're aware. So if any questions, Council, I'll be happy to answer them for you.
All right, thank you. Does anybody have any questions for CEO Becker or Councillor Hystad?
I do, Your Worship, Mayor Barclay. I just thought I'd mention the AI piece. I really didn't listen. I went to the administrator's session, but I guess my comment on the AI session was it was a really good session. I took a lot out of it as to using AI and creating or having those efficiencies, especially in our sewage waste systems. That was the example that they were giving at this session. I thought that I'm not going to make a motion now, but I think there's an opportunity for us in the future, CEO Becker, to loop back with that company or to work with our counterparts as to how AI may be introduced into some of the work that we're doing in the near future. So those are my comments, and yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks.
Okay, any other questions? I'll just have somebody make a motion then, please. Say we accept the CAO report.
Mayor Barclay, I'll make that motion.
Okay, thank you very much. All in favor? Okay, carried. Then we'll move on to Council Action Control. Are there any updates, CEO Becker, on like Barma, any connection with?
I've not reached out to
Yeah,
Varma,
no
Mayor
problem.
Barclay. The intent is to reach out to Varma just to, as part of your council's action item, to have engagement, just to see where they're at and get council familiar with Varma and what their intentions are
Perfect.
in the Edmonton area, and if there's, what the intentions are for Innisfil as well.
No, sounds great. Thank you. Okay, we'll just have a motion that we accept the council.
Sorry, Mayor Barclay.
Yeah,
I have a couple
sorry.
of questions.
Yeah.
There's a couple there due back to council in November, it says. Franchise fee analysis and Red Deer County Recreation and Culture Grant Agreement. Is that going to happen? This is the last meeting in November, right?
So I'll put it to the director to respond to the franchise fees analysis and just kind of give an indication where we're at and what your anticipation of timeline is.
Yeah, unfortunately, franchise fee review has not been completed by the November deadline and likely should come in hopefully by around the 15th of December is kind of when it got pushed back to internally.
And the rec agreement user stats are slated for the December 8th meeting.
All right, thank you. So we'll just have a motion then that we accept the council action control as information. Councillor Russell?
Mayor Barclay, I'll make that motion.
Okay, thank you. All in favor? Right, carried. Okay, we'll move into 5.1, I should say, with Director Vickers.
Thank you, Mayor Barclay. So today we do have before you just an overview of our complaints policy, just kind of how complaints and concerns for the public are currently being received and managed. So the current policy you see before you was approved in 2018, and it does form the ultimate direction that the town and administration uses for how we respond to both informal and formal complaints. So the policy clearly outlines what a complaint is and what it isn't. So a complaint is simply an expression of dissatisfaction about a town service, an action or decision where that resident is expecting a response back. Things like service requests, general inquiries, and feedbacks or suggestions are handled as part of normal operations, and they're not treated as complaints under this policy. So operational requests continue to actually make up the majority of the requests that we receive from day-to-day residents. These are things like potholes, missed waste collection, streetlight outages. You can see the list there. It's not exhaustive. There's many more issues that we have. It's really our way of getting information from the residents to determine what we need to do out in the community to make it either safe or fix anything for them. So how we treat those is these are routed directly to the departments to deal with these on a one-on-one basis. So for complaints, however, the process remains consistent with our policy. So staff do first try to attempt to resolve the issues informally at the point of service. So that's our first step. When a matter cannot be resolved informally, it becomes a formal complaint, and now it must be submitted to the CAO in writing with all the required details, including contact information, a description of the issue, as well as that desired resolution. And then we move on from there. Formal complaints are investigated by the department head. Unless it's about that person, then it turns kind of and reroutes to the CAO for a formal review. And a written response is provided back to the person who complained, or if they need more time, they'll work through that. But generally, if you make a formal complaint, then you know you're going to get a response within 30 days from the town. Any resident who is unsatisfied with a complaint does have the ability to kind of go to the CAO and kind of escalate that complaint if they're not happy with the response. And then there is kind of, they can go to the Alberta Ombudsman if ultimately they're not happy with kind of any complaint internally here. In 2024, we did kind of start doing our planning for Q Alert, and then in early 2025, we rolled it out across the whole town administration. And it really just modernized how we treat complaints and service requests. So now we actually track them both combined through the Q Alert system. In our previous system, CivicWeb, we only just handled complaints in that system. So when we eventually talk about numbers, the numbers are going to seem like a lot more, but actually we're tracking things like those missed garbage complaints or missed, it's really not a complaint, sorry, it's just that request for service, things like that. So residents are now able to actually submit all their types of concerns, so not just their complaints, but any concern or complaint or request for service through Q Alert. So it is on our website, and we are going through a website modernization review, so it will become a more prominent button on our website, but right now it's kind of just in that top corner if anyone does need to see it. And internally, we're now able to assign these complaints to different people. We can monitor anyone who's kind of made contact on it, and we can document the responses through kind of like a main centralized system. This does strengthen kind of our transparency, accountability, and response times to the public. And again, since launching Q Alert, we've started to tracking all the different types of complaints, including all those service requests, general inquiries, as well as feedbacks or even suggestions. So really, the Q Alert system kind of supports that consistent customer service across residents and ensures that both routine service issues and complaints are both handled in a timely manner with residents. So I'll take any questions that council may have on our complaints policy.
All right, thank you, Director Vickers. Does anybody have any questions about the complaints policy or system? Councillor Hystad?
No, I appreciate the overview. I was just wondering, and I don't recall this, and Director Vickers, how did we inform the community, or did we promote this alert system through our communications? I think it's really good. Like, I think overall, like anything that I've heard about it, it's been a really good tool. But I think this is just another opportunity for us to promote this throughout the year, and if we can do so in the near future, I think that would be great. So.
Mayor Barclay through to Councillor Hystad. So we did kind of a soft launch for the Q Alert. So we just kind of opened it. We just started casually telling people if they had a complaint, kind of rerouted them to the website. And in discussion, once we kind of got through it, we were going to more formally push that out once the website design kind of got done, because then it would be that more prominent spot on the website.
Okay, and I remember you saying that now, like that would have been a few months ago, but it's good to remind me. I don't remember everything, but no, I think there's an opportunity of, especially with some of our communication with the community, so thanks so much.
Okay, thank you. CEO Becker?
So just to council, often council is looked upon as a conduit for public complaint, and how do you handle that? I know we talked about that briefly. Again, as your employee, it's to me, but the most expedient, best way to handle public complaint based on the severity of it is to filter the individual to the front office. That's the best way. It's in the system right away, and we can get staff on it immediately. If it comes to me, could be some delay, but very seldom. But in seriousness, it's I can allocate my time to other parts of the company. But however, if you don't know what level should go where, just to me, and we can work on that, and through experience we can figure out what should go where. But I can certainly help you, council, with that. But yeah, we do the best we can. And if there's a breakdown at the office, just on an issue, we do resolve as best we can. If there's a miss and you hear something, please let me know, and we readdress it. We try to do our diligence, but trial and error is probably the best way, but front office is the best way to deal with public complaints.
Perfect, thank you. Councillor Wing?
Thank you, and just a quick question then. So there is now a button on the town app for Q Alert. It works?
Mayor Barclay through to Councillor Wing. So did you say town app?
The app, yeah. It's on.
It is not on the app, it's
It
on
is
our
on the.
website.
It is on the
Yeah.
app. It is on the app.
It is on the
Yeah,
app?
but does it
Okay.
work? It's functional, okay. So that's good. That's good to know. Thank you.
And Mayor Barclay, I'd just like to announce, so we did have, since in 2025, since we started using Q Alert fully and tracking the statistics, we have received a total number of, we call them complaints, service requests. The total number is 1,717 items of things that we had to rectify for whatever reason, whether there was a pothole, a downed tree, a physical complaint, a missed garbage, something like that, so. Yeah. And through the Q Alert system, we're allowed to get really great statistics as well. We can see how long claims are actually open for, even the days for the complaints are open. It really just does give us better tracking ability and better control on how long these things are open. If things get missed, it's much easier for us to find, so.
For sure.
Yeah.
What we need is for AI to grab onto the requests and automatically send them to.
So one good
The
thing about
ultimate
this
fixer.
system is when you set it up, let's say yourself, you make a complaint and you put in your phone, it can actually just automatically respond to you through a text message that the complaint has been completed or any notes that we put on. There's a function within the system to automatically do that in the background to kind of save some time as well.
Yeah, I do know somebody that's used it and they were very impressed because there was a follow-up with, yeah, that they knew that it had been dealt with. So, yeah, that's great. That's a lot, though the volume is a lot.
And now that we have these statistics, we'll be able to see the year over year and see a really good gradual. So not just complaints, but all service requests too, because obviously they make up the larger number of what we do.
Yeah.
And just a note on one of the other things, under garbage, in our old system, we tracked it as one complaint, and now due to extended producer responsibility, we do have to separate those out into the 3 streams. So one complaint did turn into 3 depending on the times when it was garbage, organics, and recycling.
Okay.
So.
And then I assume those, depending on what the outcome is, those are shared with the provider, waste management provider? And
Absolutely. These can automatically go somewhere, so they automatically go. If you pick a missed garbage, it automatically gets routed to our provider, and then they automatically get the complaint to cut down on service time.
Okay, no, thank you. That's great. Any other questions? If not, we'll just have somebody please make a motion that we accept this report as information. Councillor Strong?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. All in favor? Carried. Okay, and now we'll get into 6.1, Economic Strategies and Community Safety and Wellbeing with Director Jenkins and Director Leith.
All right, so we just wanted to provide council with some background and information on a couple of our plans that we have in place. So I will give you economic development, the saga that is economic development. So going back pre-COVID, economic development for the town has evolved significantly. Prior to sort of 2020, the economic development function kind of floated around between the development department, the communications department. It wasn't until 2024 that we had dedicated staff with respect to EcDev. So going back to 2020, town council worked with a consultant called 13 Ways, Heather Thompson and Doug Griffith, working on an action-oriented plan for economic development. So I did include sort of the summary of that plan in your package. Sort of the 3 main takeaways from that were actions focusing on downtown aesthetics. So if you hear us talk about twinkle lights, this is where the term twinkle lights first came up, was out of this plan, as well as working with the chamber and exploring different opportunities for business representation in the community, as well as a rebrand and new website. So the website we have currently was a product of this 2020 13 Ways process. So then sort of moving out of that more short-term action-oriented plan, in 2021, we started working with Factor 5 Group and the concept of community economic development. This was also sort of in parallel with the town's participation with the Energy Futures Lab Roadshow. So the Energy Futures Lab, that process was a community education and engagement process looking at the energy transition, and opportunities related to sort of energy and that work that definitely fed into some of the components of the ECDEV strategy as well. So community economic development is a bit of a departure, or I guess an add-on to what you would typically call traditional economic development, which is more focused on marketing and attraction, looking at population growth, assessment growth, those types of indicators with respect to what success looks like with economic development. Community economic development is more of a community-led process, focusing more holistically. So here's the definition from one of our slides, that CED focuses on economic, social, cultural, environmental, and educational needs of a community as a whole, and that all aspects must be developed to support quality of life. So it's definitely a bit of a more holistic approach, and the indicators that you're looking at with community economic development is not just sort of growth and economic advancement. It's looking at things like household wealth, employment, safety, education levels, and social belonging. So that was a principle that resonated with council and administration, that sort of led into the power of place and a more robust economic development strategy. So the power of place strategy process focused on a fair bit on statistical review, as well as a business retention and expansion survey, and resulted in a series of tactics. One of the primary components of this document talks about the creation of an economic development entity, or a separate sort of governance structure for how economic development is done in the community, sort of building on that bottom-up sort of principle. At this point, we haven't been able to sort of mobilize the level of community involvement and activity to really support that arm's length entity creation. So the ECDEV function has remained sort of internal to the town. Another big part of this plan was working on our relationship with the chamber. So in my time with the town, our relationship has improved tremendously with the chamber. Part of this plan, we signed an MOU to work together. A lot of the tactics in the plan did depend on some of that work to be done by the chamber. Some of that has not been achieved, and we'll have to continue to work with the chamber to understand their role and capacity with economic development. But yeah, so the plan, again, I think there's 38 tactics or something, which is quite a lot for a strategy. I would say they can be sort of grouped into a few categories of investment readiness, communications, business education and networking, and then that quite a few are related to that creation of the new economic development entity and the organization that really haven't been pursued. But generally, so this plan is in council's budget for consideration for update in the coming 2026 year. Again, we've made significant strides in a lot of the areas, and an update for what the current reality is, I think, in the community will really help us be more targeted in our activities. So if there's any questions about specifics or process.
Okay, thanks, Director Jenkins. Question, have you got a new community profile through, like I know one was being done through CAEP?
Yep.
So you've received that?
Yep, it's live on the website.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So I guess having been part of this for, it seems like a long time now, and I see the update in our budget. I guess my comment would be, I think there's so much in the existing plan, so much has been accomplished, so much should be ongoing, and hasn't necessarily, and there's so much that hasn't been started that, maybe as opposed to, when I see the dollar value with economic strategy update, it seems a lot. And so I guess my comment would be, would there be consideration of taking what we have, which, we've done, like I said, some of, but not all of, and maybe, I don't know whether it would go back to the CED committee, advisory group, and say, okay, what are our priorities here? And really taking this plan and saying, okay, well, this is probably good for another 3 to 4 years without having to start from scratch. I think there's a need for community economic development education with both the advisory group, because they weren't there at the beginning either, and of course this council as well, and having a facilitator do that. But just kind of curious what your thoughts are around
I guess, go ahead, Todd, if you want to pipe in, but I guess we can approach it however council sees fit, or whatever dollar value we will work within that. But I think reestablishing if community economic development is the way we want to continue to go, that community engagement and the sort of the community and the businesses in the community driving the plan and what those priorities are. I think we definitely need to be going back out to the community through the chamber, through public, in order to be truly doing community economic development where it isn't top down, the town's deciding what we should do. It's the community coming up with those priorities.
If I could supplement Barclay to the question, I would agree to the director's comments about CED as community driven. Actually, the council and the committee took a year of education to develop that CED philosophy. There's a lot of meat in the conversation, so the question would be to council, do you just want to focus on tactic, which maybe you do, just, hey, okay, for the next year or two, let's focus on tactic, what's already in the plan, then maybe we just do a touch base and just pull out what council's really, what you want to focus in on. But again, as per the director, if you really want to pull that CED philosophy into the community, as per the document, then, a dollar should be allocated to what that is. We have not finalized scope of that, and maybe that's a question to finalize that scope of what that could look like. Maybe it's 80,000 as per budget, maybe it's 50, 40, I don't really know. But we did have a year of consultation through Factor 5 or longer to establish this end product. So it's really a question back to council, Mayor Barclay, but you're right, there's action in there. We should be more definite on the action. But if CED is what we want to do, there has to be some dollars allocated to get us there, not just the committee, but all the council and the community.
Yeah, for sure. I wasn't saying not do anything. It's just a matter of, do we have to start at the beginning again and build it out like we did the first time? I personally don't think so, but I think there's a lot of meat in this still. Councillor Hystad.
Thanks, Your Worship. I would agree with your comments on there's a lot that could be used with this what am I trying to say? Just the information that we have before us, I think, and just sitting on chamber for my first time in this new term, I think you're going to see a whole new group of people being involved in the chamber as well, which is a good thing. But I think there's a lot of opportunity that they can cross-pollinate here, and I think there's some really good work here that still needs to be utilized. And as to the dollar point, I think we'll get to in the next few days when we sit down on budget and really hammer this one out. But I think this is a great document moving forward. Thank you. Document, that's what I meant to say. Thank you.
Councillor Wing.
Thank you. Yes, I would agree with the comments before. I think that as for community engagement relative to this plan, the business community has changed a lot since this work was done in 2021, 2020. So I think it would be good for us to be able to connect with the local businesses, whether that's working with the chamber or continuing to do some of the business visits that we have been focused on over the last 4 years. And I would agree certainly after attending a session at the Alberta Munis Conference relative to economic development, put a different, stronger lens in front of council relative to what the work is and what the opportunities look like as we move forward. So I think we've got a good framework here. I think we need to devote some time to it, to review it and understand whether it's, whether we're still going in the right direction, and, assign some resources accordingly. But I'm just happy to see that it's on the table and something for us to work with.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? If not, I think we'll just leave the rest of it for budget conversation and go from there. But I'll ask for Director Leith now to give us an update.
Your Worship, I'll give some general background as well as to where this plan came from. So in 2019, we formed the Police and Safer Communities Committee to provide that conduit between the community and council in respect of community safety and well-being. In 2022, the committee attended training held by Canadian Municipal Network of Crime Prevention, which looked at community safety and well-being planning. In 2023, secured budget for that plan to come through, which was assigned to BASA Social Innovations. And in 2024, we moved through the process for that, which was the data collection, and then the analysis of that data collection. So the data collection was very in-depth. It went from RCMP and municipal enforcement to EMS fire, to our seniors, into the high school to see the students, into our local cafes, and then we did a community design lab, which we had over 80 people attend. And the people who were attending the design lab were guests as such of people within the community and their family, which included their children. So it was a very in-depth data collection process, and then obviously they came back with the analysis of that data, which was very positive for the community of Innisfail in the fact that people actually felt safer last year than they did in previous years. I'll touch on some of the strategic areas that they came up with as a result of that report, which was increased visibility of enforcement through patrols, community engagement and communication. These we were able to turn around and address through our community policing plans, police and priority plans, or the old APP as was. So that was addressed really early on within our RCMP police and priorities. Crime prevention through environmental design, so the SEPTED piece. We have begun that process in town facilities where those SEPTED assessments have taken place. And that again ties into our security camera systems as well, which are currently under review within those facilities of the town. Area 2, enhancing cultural safety awareness and education, developing comprehensive youth engagement strategy. And again, in the strategic areas, it refers later on to that divergence of youth and basically giving more for them to do. Leveraging municipal roles in grant and funding. Again, our restorative justice within the community, although it's one of the oldest restorative justice committees that have in the whole of Alberta, it had hit a little bit of a hiatus. Last year and this year, they've been successful in revitalising that process and also secured additional grant funding to make sure that's successful. Quite recently, some of the files that they've been handling were used as best examples by Calgary and Airdrie in respect of how they handled some of those case files. The increase in citizen reporting and safety concerns through education and engagement. Again, we were able to address this fairly quickly through our RCMP and the reporting piece, and emphasis to the community that commonly it's only around 30% of crime that's currently reported, and how do we increase that? And that's through getting out into the community, being a physical presence within the community, so those increased foot patrols, the bike patrols, the quad patrols, etc. So strategic area 3, collaborative partnerships for community safety. Last year and this year, we were able to collaborate with the community of Penhold in respect of our peace officer programs, where we had joint service agreements taking place while we covered maternity leave for the town of Penhold. We've looked at that as well potentially for the town of Bowden, and how regionally we support each other in respect of community peace officers. Our current emergency management plan is a regional plan, and the signing early last year of that regional agreement. Strategic Area 4 was resource access and support systems. So again, increased access to diversionary supports for youth, expand interagency action, leverage partnerships for housing and homeless supports, and increase frequency of inspection visits. The increase of inspection visits is something that, again, is going to be discussed at budget in respect of adjusting our quality management plan, where we would be able to go into businesses, hotels, or multifamily dwellings to complete fire and safety inspections. Again, a very positive document, and again, a living document that we refer back to as we move through these objectives. And certainly, again, it's about capacity and scope. As these things come up, we're referring back to this report and plan on how we are able to do that within our own current capacities.
Okay, thank you, Director Leith. So I guess a question that I would have is, well, youth as an example, we see lots of references. Going back to that process, it seemed that was kind of the number one thing that came out of this document was youth. And there's a paragraph in here that mentions that we have a slightly elevated rate of youth involvement in property crimes compared to similar communities, suggests a clear opportunity for implementation of youth-targeted diversion programs. So I'm wondering, like, going through that chart that you just did, like, is there something right now that's a priority, or do you work with the police and Safe Community Committee? I don't know if the FCSS committee is involved with this kind of work at all, but what do you determine what to do, or is there a lot of things that are kind of underway right now?
Yes, certainly, Your Worship. Our current fire cadet program was a development as a result of this plan, and also our recruitment and retention of younger people within our fire department. And we work closely with the high school in putting that plan together, or that program together. Again, there is potential plans, and probably Director Jenkins can speak to it, as of a youth gathering place that's potentially planned currently for our community, which would, again, meet some of the requirements within this report.
Yeah, so we do, through FCSS and our community services, recreation programming as well, continue to expand and look for different ways that we can get more youth involved with our youth action nights and our drop-in programming and those various programs. Town staff also work with the YES workers through the Chinook's Edge School, supporting those programs, as well as continuing to work with various community partners. As Director Leith mentioned, we do have a youth organization looking to establish a space in the community. So we're hoping that materializes in the new year. But yes, that's an external not-for-profit that's currently looking at spaces. So
that's good to hear. I like the idea. We were talking before the meeting with the design labs, and going into the schools and having the kids decide what they want is, and I think that's very healthy. I think we saw that through this process, like that they were engaged, and as opposed to coming out and having to sit on a committee with us old people or something that's kind of boring and whatnot. But
we have seen a lot of success in the last couple of years. I'll talk for myself, yeah. with the skate park and with the activities at the skate park as well, sort of meeting kids where they're at and meeting not necessarily the kids that would show up to be the volunteer on a committee.
Yeah, so. And it was something that came up to me with a one-on-one conversation during, it was actually after the forum at the Legion. Somebody addressed this aspect with me, like the youth component, and you know, I said it's so important for the youth to be involved and kind of determine what direction things go. So, no, thanks for all the.
We are also seeing a fair bit, or good uptake and more programming targeted at that teenage group through the library as well, with some
Nice.
other life skills and those programs as well.
That's great. Councillor Hystad, sorry, I'm
No, that's okay. No,
carrying on here.
thanks, Your Worship. I think the conversation with Director Leith and yourself was great, and I think that I was going to comment on the fire cadet program. Those are young people that they're the eyes and ears of the community, and I think that those are the things that we're working on. And you know, the library does a great job with a lot of things for young people. What I wanted to say about, I think this was some of the coolest work that we've done in the last 3 years, personally, like some of the studies and working with young people and the families. And it never came back to the community policing side of things, never came back to money or more officers on the ground. It was about how do we connect with each other. And I think that's, we have to build off that. And I think we should be very proud of the work that's come out of this. And I'm confident that we'll build off it. But I wanted our new council to be aware that it was never about more officers. It was about how do we connect with people and how do we report things to our CMP and our, you know, our partners. So thanks, Your Worship.
Thank you. I think even in the community economic development strategy, there's a youth component in that as part of the tactical plan, and you know, getting youth involved in business, whether it's try it days or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, no, it's really good work that everybody's doing. So thank you for that. Anybody else have any comments? Or if not, I'll just have a motion, please. Councillor Hill.
Yes, Mayor Barclay, I'll make a motion that council approves the report. The overview of the power of place community economic development strategy and the community safe and well-being plan as information.
Okay, perfect. All in favor? Okay, carried. And we'll just move into correspondence. So the first one, the men's shed, they're submitting an application today for funding. So they've sent us this letter. They would like the town of Innisfail to support that request. So if we could just have somebody make a motion that we will send a letter of support. Councillor Wing.
Mayor Barclay, I would move that council provide a letter of support to the men's shed relative to their grant application for Healthy Aging Alberta.
Okay, thank you. Does anybody have any questions about this grant that they're submitting? Okay, all in favor? All right. Next letter. So we yeah, so I will, we received this the other day, I think it was Thursday or Friday, from CPKC, so I will maybe turn it over to either CAO Becker or Director Kennedy to talk about this surprise.
As indicated by Mayor Barclay, this came in to us just late last week. It'll be more detailed to you tomorrow, as it'll be part of the capital budget considerations. The detail to why we are subject to this cost, we have to come to the Director Kennedy. It's yeah, so if there's any questions technically on how this comes to be, the Director could answer those questions, but we're subject to those costs apparently through a 1991 agreement that was made.
Do you want to talk about that, Director Kennedy?
Not really, but
okay. Just to inform us all. That's
yeah, he is correct though. It's based on the 91 agreement. Maintenance costs like this get proposed to us by CP. I did ask them to get a little more detail. They said they would look into it for further analysis of the quote to get a more accurate quote. They will work on that, but this is more of the heads up that this is happening next year, more towards the fall, but it's something we need to budget for as they come up. Yeah, so we'll stay informed with it.
Yeah, and just so newer councillors know, there's basically monthly work that goes on the crossings, I would say, Director Kennedy, and I'm not sure exactly what the total would be in a year, but we pay the bill. I'll just put it that way, and I'm not sure what it is, Director Vickers, off the top of my head, but I seem to sign checks every month for CPKC to do crossing work, just about. It's okay, yeah, doesn't matter. So anyway, that will, Councillor Hill.
Yes, Mayor Barclay. I guess some of the questions I have, obviously, an agreement back dated 1991. Obviously, the expectations were far different then than they are now, and then the amount of traffic and all those different, like the amount of rails that they're actually, cars that they're seeing come across the rail and all that kind of stuff. Is there a way to ever have a review of this policy, or is that's obviously a topic of conversation in the near future?
Remember, Councillor Hill, definitely could have a conversation. Often council would meet with representatives of CPKC. Yeah, it's an old agreement. I'm sure it's a template signed by most municipalities. But I think it's a valid question to pose back administratively. We can certainly do that. What's the status of this agreement? Is it subject to opening to renegotiate? Yeah. Again, we'll have CPKC come into you at some point. We can pose those types of questions.
Yeah, thank you, CEO Becker. I obviously understand the relevance of having safe rails in our community. That's not an issue for me, but obviously, yeah, we've seen over the however many, well, that'd be 3.5 decades, the traffic is considerably more, and yeah, I guess that would be my request, is if we could at one point in time get in front of the right people and see if there's any, adjustments, or who knows, maybe it would make it more onus on us, and we don't want to have that conversation. So, but I appreciate that.
Yeah, and they have reached out with an email recently to ask about coming before council, so this is all perfect timing. No, thank you for that, Councillor Russell.
Thanks, Mayor Barclay. Through to CAO Becker. I'm sticker shock when I looked at this one, for sure. But I mean, it isn't necessarily. The question I had is similar to Councillor Hill. I don't know if it's possible through your network of other CAOs to find out how many municipalities actually have this agreement. Are there some that, for some reason, were able to not have this agreement? And then who's the cost fall on? Because if it is pretty much a blanket agreement that was signed by every municipality across the province, I guess it is what it is, and maybe we can leverage the group as a whole rather than one individual municipality going to look at having that rewritten. But I would leave that with, but I'd be interested to hear back what other municipalities are faced with in terms of this similar agreement.
Good question. Councillor Russell, to your question, my experience is the ones I've dealt with municipalities are subject to the same agreement. I know neighboring municipalities have similar concerns with that relationship with the company. Yeah, so certainly we'll gather that data, that information. It's an easy question to gather, but there has been municipalities expressing concern with maintaining somebody else's infrastructure. We took on some responsibilities with those crossings when we being the town and council, introduced the whistle cessation. So there was a requirement through a proper upgrade to the crossings, followed by a council bylaw to take that on, and it's basically put back to our responsibility. So that's really clear and understood. My experience in my different life was there's a cost to the municipality, but sometimes there would be a grant allocated to support, and very small grant, but still a grant to support. So certainly we'll take that question here at posing, and we'll gather more information.
And Mayor Barclay, just to follow up, just curious too, that municipalities who don't have CP but have CN, do they have a similar agreement that CN is put forward, or is it just a CP agreement that's out there?
Your question, Councillor Russell, previous experience was CN, not CP. So again, I don't know offhand, but my experience has been both companies have similar relationships with municipalities.
Okay, thank you. And Councillor Highstead?
Thanks, Mayor Barclay, and I appreciate Councillor Hill and Councillor Russell bringing this up. Yeah, I was surprised too as to the number. And Mayor Barclay, do you think that we should have this on an action control as to just making sure that we're kind of keeping track of it, as well as making sure that we're doing our due diligence with CPKC, just making sure that we're getting through this?
It's up to you, Becker. I mean, we could have a motion to direct administration to bring in CKPC, or how would you like to proceed?
Yeah, to the question to Councillor Highstead, I think that's a fair question. I would advise council not to take that letter lightly. I think it should create some interest of council. Why is this, even though we have a 91 agreement, like it's really why is this subject to the town, and that's how you achieve changes, is based on posing questions. So I would invite formal direction from council on what you want us to achieve, besides putting it into the budget for consideration.
So would you like to make a motion?
Yeah, Your Worship, I'd like to make a motion that we put it on the action control, that we have a delegation from CPKC come to Innisfail and talk to us in regards to this letter that they forwarded us. Thank you.
No, thank you. Okay, anybody else have any comments about CPKC? No, all in favor? Okay, carried. Next letter. And then maybe just go to the watershed one. So we get this letter annually. We have not joined the Red Deer River Watershed Alliance because we participate in the Red Deer Municipal Users Group, which is no charge, and of course it's all municipalities. And I think, the people that have served on RD Mug, as well as the Water Commission, have really felt that this is really more of a provincial responsibility to fund as opposed to the municipal responsibility, I would say. So we have never gone that route. So if anybody has anything they want to add, please do. If not, no. Okay. I think that's it, right? So we'll just have a motion then. We accept the correspondence as information, please.
Mayor Barclay, I would move we accept a correspondence for information.
Perfect. Thank you. All in favor? Carried. Okay, and we'll move into council reports, and we'll begin with Councillor Wing today.
Mayor Barclay, I've submitted my report. I don't have anything to add.
Okay, thank you. And Councillor Strong?
Thank you, Mayor Mark. I had no report. Just one thing to add, though. I really did enjoy my first lighting in the trees and watching the kids sing. And I still understand I do not sing well, so.
It's okay. You don't have to. It's participation that counts. Councillor Hill?
Yes, thank you. Participation maybe should be opted out of by a few. My ears still hurt a little bit. No, it was all right. Yeah, it was, as you can see in the report, just a few pointers. I think one of the biggest things is that I am very excited for the Policing and Safe Community Committee. I've really been excited for that committee for quite some time, and I'm excited to get on that. And yeah, it was just kind of fitting to have a little bit of a funding model and understanding how other municipalities in the region are affected by the RCMP. And yeah, and then some of our issues and hearing what other issues are not unique to just one size of municipality, so it was kind of interesting. But other than that, the rest is in my report, so thank you.
All right, thank you. Councillor Russell?
Mayor Barclay, my report is there, and I would echo what Councillor Hill said about the RCMP session we went to. I went to it as well because I'll be on that committee as well, so nothing further to add.
All right, thank you. Councillor Highstead?
Yeah, no, I want to say that the last Friday was really well done by our staff and our community, so it was great. I move my report. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Yes, I would echo those thoughts. Thank you to the team, Kristen, Manager Mackenzie, I should say, and Jacob, and our communications people, and everybody that got the tree ready. It was a great night, and of course, when it's +6, that helps. But everybody certainly enjoyed themselves, so thank you. Okay, and we'll go to 9.1, upcoming events. And we'll just have a motion to accept the upcoming events as information, please. Councillor Hystad.
I'll make a motion to accept the motion, or the events.
Perfect, thank
Page.
you.
Thanks.
All in favor? Carried. And then we'll have a motion to go in camera. Councillor Hill.
I'll make a motion, we move in camera. Mayor Barclay?
Thanks. All in favor? Carried.